Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I want to take everyone back to the year 2000 when voters of Arizona passed Proposition 301 and sent the clear message that our students matter, that our teachers matter, and that public schools matter. Time and time again, Arizonans have been vocal about their support for public education, but time and time again, leadership in this state has failed them. One needs to look no further than the lawsuit brought against the state after failing to adequately fund public schools as outlined in Prop 301. The result of that lawsuit, Prop 123, shouldn't have been needed in the first place. Why is it that the state needed to be sued in order to fund our public schools? That's unacceptable, and it sends the wrong message to the nearly 1 million students and their families, the majority of families in Arizona, who choose public education. And while the increase in funding that resulted from the passage of Prop 123 was a welcome change, we are not where we need to be. 10 years later, as evidenced by the myriad of headlines about the lack of funding in our public school system, we continue to come up short. Something needs to change. Arizonans are tired of the empty promises and platitudes. They are tired of their words falling on deaf ears. They are tired of the status quo. And that's why I'm excited to share with you all my proposal to not only extend Prop 123, but to expand it so that we can finally change course and strengthen the future of our students in public schools. Back in 2016, when Prop 123 was first passed, the 6.9% distribution rate was based on the projection that the state land trust account would have $6.2 billion in it after this new funding. Due to Arizona's thriving economy, the state land trust has exceeded those projections, and as of December 2023, sits at $7.8 billion. To reflect this difference, I'm proposing an increased distribution rate of 8.9%. This will provide an additional $1.3 billion for public schools compared to the previous rate. That means raises not only for teachers, but for every educator and support staff who make our schools a success. And it means safer schools for our children. It does all of this without raising taxes by 1 cent, and it will not jeopardize the health of the state land trust. What this proposal does do, it strengthens Arizona's foundation and invests in our students' futures. I can't think of a smarter, more sound investment than that. Our public schools are the beating heart of this state. They are a place where equal opportunity is not just a principle, but a lived reality, where barriers are broken and doors are unlocked. We are at our best when we have a well-funded public education system where our students have the resources they need to thrive. As the sister of 2 public school teachers, I'm proud to put this proposal forward, and I'm calling on the legislature to join me in ensuring a brighter future for our students, our teachers, and our state. It's time to change the status quo. It's time to act. And with that, I'll bring up Senator Christine Marsh. Sorry.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Before I begin, I want to thank Governor Hobbs and her team for the work they have done to make this a reality, and to the Democratic legislators who came before me who pushed tirelessly for this kind of investment in public education. As a current teacher and former Teacher of the Year, I have worked my whole career to give Arizona students the best education I possibly could. Far too often, the most consistent obstacle of my career was the routine underfunding I saw across all aspects of our education system. Before a student even steps into the classroom, there are a number of critical adults that have an impact on their educational success, and I would be leaving them behind if I didn't advocate for them down here at the Capitol alongside our teachers. This plan aims to tackle that very issue. I am proud to introduce the Prop 123 plan that will invest in every part of our education system that helps our students thrive. While I applaud my Republican colleagues finally admitting that we need to do something to raise teacher pay, their plan misses the mark. With this plan, we will not only address our teacher shortage caused by low pay, we will support every educational professional responsible for our children's success and keep our schools safe. It's time we act like the adults in the room and do more than one thing at a time. The State Land Trust is strong and growing. It's grown by over $2 billion over the last 10 years. Our choice is between letting that number sit in a bank account and get bigger, or setting Arizona's children up for success and supporting our entire educational system and all of its professionals. For me, it's a simple choice. I am going to support the plan that puts our students and educational professionals in the best spot to grow and succeed in Arizona. And I have the distinct pleasure of bringing up Yasmin, who is a high school student.
Good afternoon. My name is Yasmin Castro from Apollo High School. I'm an extremely proud public school student and will be graduating next May. Educators and support staff at my school have given me an incredible education, and I'm grateful for the opportunities I've received. But I know Arizona can do more to support them and give students like me a quality education. I've firsthand seen how Arizona public school students need extra support, specifically in the honors and AP department. At my school, many students on this path were not placed in the correct level of these advanced classes. This was due to the lack of teachers in general and especially in the honors and AP department. When the second semester rolled around, many students failed the courses they were put in due to being placed in classes they weren't ready for, since the classes they needed to be prepared for these were filled due to them only having one period. They were then pulled out of these classes and placed in regular classes. These students deserve the opportunity to have the right classes on the path they want to take. Lack of teachers should never be a roadblock in a student's education. Arizona has one of the worst funded public education systems in the country. This has to change. With this plan, we can take one more step towards ensuring every student has had the opportunities like I've had. Schools also need to be safer. Schools should not be somewhere where we fear for our lives, where we're constantly thinking of what our escape plan would be, where we step into a room and immediately look for the exits and hiding spots. There was a recent situation where there was an altercation with an armed individual near my school. This happened after school, and it was evident to us all there was no plan in place, no safety measures ready, and it was absolute chaos. Students were still walking around outside of campus. Those inside were getting yelled at to go into classrooms with no clue as to what was happening. Once we were inside, no one knew, not even the teacher, what exactly we were to do or what was happening. Let's seize this opportunity to build a high-quality education system we can all be proud of and ensure Arizona students like me have a chance to build a stronger future for ourselves and our state. I will now be handing it off to Nicole.
Good afternoon. My name's Nicole Marquez, and I'm a proud product and parent of the Arizona Public School System. I went to Sunburst Elementary School, Desert Foothills Junior High School, and graduated at Greenway Demon. I went on to get my associate's degree at Mesa Community College and then obtained my bachelor's as an ASU Sun Devil. Now I have my own children attending public schools here in Phoenix. My first, fourth, and sixth graders all go to the Creighton Academy, where we've been going since schools reopened post-pandemic. As the founding president of our school's parent-teacher organization and an active volunteer in our school district, I interact with parents, teachers, administrators, support staff, and students on the daily. And I'm reminded at every turn of the risks and instabilities our public school educators and students face due to the chronic underfunding allowed by the majority in our state legislature. Public schools play a vital role in building strong, healthy communities. Our public schools are the designated spaces where children go to expand their minds, gain valuable skills, and cultivate new relationships. Sadly, however, many students are not given the chance to reach their potentials in these areas, not because of a lack of knowledge or drive or passion, but because of a lack of funds. As a mother, I wish we lived in a state where schools had all the resources they need to keep students adequately educated and safe from dangers. Being a student shouldn't be a scary experience. In order for our children to get the education they deserve, our schools need to be fully and properly funded each and every year. With this Proposition 123 plan, important investments can be made that will help all children, including my own, have better educational opportunities and will help create safer learning environments for them. I've chosen to call Arizona my home and raise my family here. I want to thank Governor Hobbs, Senator Marsh, and Representative Schwiebert for their efforts to make this state a place where every child can get an excellent public education and have a chance to thrive, no matter their zip code or backgrounds. I do wish it was more, but I hope that the rest of our state leaders will step up and join them, because the need is very great and the stakes for our children, our families, and our state's future are so incredibly high. Thank you. Our next speaker is Savannah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Savannah Galaviz Tranguch. I am a mother of 6, a grandmother of 3. I am with the NEA Hispanic Caucus, but during the day I'm an elementary school librarian here in Central Phoenix. During the day I tell stories, I manage a makerspace, and I help fill in the gaps where we do not have positions filled. Every single one of our students deserve an amazing education, from South Phoenix to Casa Grande, Tuba City to Tonopah. They deserve to graduate with success. They deserve to graduate supported. And that means they need to be able to participate in field trips and science labs and classes, and they need to be in schools that are fully staffed. Not just with enough teachers, reading specialists, bus drivers, custodians, and librarians like myself. 90% of Arizona families choose public schools, and that's because they trust us to make public schools a great experience for their kids. And we work very long hours to make that work happen. But for years, politicians have underfunded our schools and undervalued our work. Our salaries have not kept pace with the cost of living, and we feel the pinch every day. There's not a single district in our state where a classroom teacher is able to support a family of 4 on their salary. As for educational support professionals, the situation is dire. We make an average of $29,000 a year. That is not a living wage for one person, not enough to raise a family. However, with Prop 123, we have a solution. The proposal in front of us today would help change that. Under this proposal, all of us who make schools run efficiently and wonderfully, we all deserve a raise. Boosting all our salaries would allow me and many more of us to stay in this profession and continue doing the work that we love. And we can't afford to keep waiting. This is not a partisan issue. Arizonans of both parties care about it, and we need to put politics aside to get it done. Please call your legislators, email them, Facebook them, Instagram them. They are on there. And tell them it's time that educators got to raise, all of us. Thank you. I will pass this off to Dr. Gary Zerbach.
Thank you and good afternoon. Governor Hobbs, thank you for the opportunity to address the community today. My name is Dr. Gary Diaz-Zerbach, and I am the Deputy Superintendent of Administrative Leadership and Services at the Deer Valley Unified School District. Our utmost priority as educational leaders is the creation of safe and supportive environments within Arizona's public schools, ensuring the well-being of each and every student. To achieve this goal, we must work to implement a comprehensive plan that consists both of strategic and tactical objectives. Fostering a strong culture and climate is essential for both students and staff. Students thrive in an environment where they feel a strong sense of belonging, and schools require the necessary funding for resources such as counselors, social workers, school resource officers, along with robust threat assessment procedures. Additionally, schools must have effective emergency operation planning systems. Beyond these foundational elements, it is crucial that we secure adequate funding for safety measures addressing concerns such as access control, establishing secure entry points for both students and employees, threat detection, investing in new technologies such as camera, digital threat alert, and visitor management system solutions. Also, facility modernization, upgrading and hardening facilities to withstand security threats, including the use of ballistic-proof materials, interior locking systems, and proper lighting, especially on our high school campuses where events can run throughout the night. And also communication systems, implementing mass notification and two-way digital systems between schools, students, and parents. Governor, the proposed funding you are advocating for will play an important role in assisting district and school leaders in effectively responding to the threats our campuses face, not only now, but in the future as well. The safety and well-being of our students demand our collective attention and our investment. With the governor's proposed funding, we stand poised to continue and enhance our environments where our schools can thrive, ensuring that every child has the opportunity to learn and grow in a safe and supportive environment. Thank you. And next up is Representative Judy Schwiebert.
Thank you, Governor Hobbs, for this wonderful proposal, and thank you, everybody, for being here. As a longtime former teacher and high school librarian, as well as a mom and now a grandma, I know firsthand how vital our schools are to our children, families, and communities. I'm so proud to be here today with Governor Hobbs and Senator Marsh and everyone else here to offer this proposal to renew Prop 123 funds for our schools. It is truly essential to addressing the teacher shortage crisis. I knew I'd never become monetarily rich when I followed my heart to become a teacher, but I was always able to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads, even after becoming a single mom. That all changed in the 2008 recession when the Arizona legislature made the deepest cuts in the nation to public education. And even though the vast majority of the public schools in our state continue to earn a rank of A or B, since that recession, Arizona has continued to rank at the bottom of the nation in per pupil spending and teacher salaries. Our educators do a heroic job, but too many of them can no longer afford to work or live here. As a result, they're fleeing to other states or professions where they can support their families. Arizona's failure to properly invest in our schools has left a shocking 1 in 3 students without a permanent qualified teacher. That's a disaster for not only our children and families, but also for our employers and all of us who benefit from the strong workforce we need for our economy to thrive. But you know, like the cars we all depend on, our schools require many essential parts. Raising teacher salaries is like putting a new engine under the hood, and that's really important. But unless you also invest in some tires, in this case in the form of increased pay for our essential classroom aides, reading and math specialists, counselors, and all support staff, you're not going anywhere. As hard as that engine works, it's going to burn itself out without those wheels. Teachers know that it's a package deal. All educators are vital to student success, especially at a time when more and more young people are struggling with anxiety, depression, and even suicide. This is the time to increase our investment in the resources our students need, not pick and choose about who's important enough to retain with a raise and who is not. So Governor Hobbs' proposal includes all educators, teachers, and support staff. It makes our schools safer, and it doesn't raise taxes a cent. Ultimately, Prop 123 gives us a choice. We can either choose to invest in Arizona's future by giving students a quality education, or we can let nearly $8 billion sit in a bank account. I invite all my colleagues to join me in voting yes to put this proposal before voters. Let's work together to make sure that every Arizonan gets their chance to thrive. And with that, I'm proud to introduce my friend Amber Gould, a teacher at Greenway High School.
Hi, friends. First, I want to say thank you to Governor Hobbs for this opportunity to speak to you all today. My name is Amber Gould. I am a high school English and student council teacher out of our Arizona Public Schools. I also am a proud member of the Arizona Education Association and am a 2023 Ambassador for Excellence and Top 5 Arizona Teacher of the Year. I've been teaching for well over a decade, and not to brag, but I'm pretty good at what I do. Just today, I had students learning about rhetorical analysis in first hour, discussing and applying advertising strategies during fourth hour, and by the time sixth hour hit, my students were talking about the importance of not being a bystander during atrocities as we read Night and listened to the testimonies of Holocaust survivors. My colleagues and I do everything we can to make sure our students get the quality public education they deserve, but it's hard. The reality of my day is that I had a new student who transferred in during sixth hour because her teacher resigned last Friday and moved to New Mexico. For lunch, I had a bag of chips that I found in one of my file cabinet drawers because I had to grade papers and didn't have time to run out during lunch. And unfortunately, the pay for our support staff is so low that we can't retain enough cafeteria staff to provide lunch for the adults on campus to purchase. I also had to find time today to create a list of the items to give to our district insurance company of everything that was destroyed in my classroom earlier this year when it flooded. Turns out when you're forced to go with the lowest bidder for construction, you don't always get the best results. The issue is that these stories are not just unique to me. There are teachers and education support professionals across our state who are struggling to make every dollar stretch at school to support our students. But they also struggle to make every single dollar stretch at home to support their own families. Too often I see funding for public education in Arizona fall short. Our state is still one of the worst when it comes to funding our kids, and that hurts my ability to teach the students that are sitting in my classroom day after day. We need real investments in public education to build a system that helps every student in Arizona thrive. And that happens when we invest in paying our educators what they deserve, when we pay our support staff what they deserve, and when we build and maintain the safe schools that our students deserve. I'm proud that Governor Hobbs, that her new plan to support our students does just that. And I'm proud to be standing with her, with Senator Marsh, with Representative Schwiebert to introduce this critical Prop 123 expansion. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to open it up to Christian to run through Q&A.
All right, doing some questions. We'll start right there.
Hi, Governor.
Hello.
I recognizing we all went into journalism because we're not good at math. But,
I'm not good at math either, so.
so we'll see how you, this is a test. You start off the fund at 7.9 billion. At the end of 10 years, it'll be 8.9. But we're putting in 200 million every year in investments. So that's $2 billion that would have gone in. So we should have been at 9.9. Essentially, you're digging into the corpus. You're taking money that would have otherwise gone in the corpus. How do you justify taking money that would otherwise go into the corpus?
That 200 million is a very conservative estimate, and we've been overperforming that at least in this last year.
But that still raises the question, if it's 250 million, that's the point. If it's 250 million, then it should be 2.5 billion going in. Not, either way, you're ending up $1 billion ahead in 10 years when you've got at least 2 billion or more going in. So how do you justify taking money that would otherwise go into the trust so that you don't have to deal with, as you say, the political inconvenience of a tax hike.
The political unreality of a tax hike. Here's the thing. Our proposal is based on the last 10 years of Prop 123, how the trust has performed, how the trust has grown, and our estimates are conservative across the board, and the trust is healthy and strong, and it will continue to be under this proposal.
But your own numbers say your investment return is 7.24%, but you're taking out 8.9%. You're taking out more than the investment return. Again, negative numbers here. No?
It shows $1 billion dollars in growth.
But it's $1
Yeah.
billion of growth, but it would go $2.4 billion if you didn't do that.
But we're not losing money. This is a critical investment that invests in our schools. I think there's agreement across the board that we need that. And this is a way to do it that doesn't hurt the trust and gives schools the resources they desperately need.
Okay, next question. Brad?
I'm sure every newsroom in the state, many people want to know, what can you tell us about the status of the National Guard members who were wounded in Jordan? How many were they? What do you know about their injuries?
I'm not able to say anything at this point. We have very preliminary information that I'm not at liberty to share.
Can you say how often you're talking to Major General Muhlenbeck or getting briefed on the situation?
On a very regular basis since this happened Saturday.
Have you spoken with those families at all impacted?
Not yet. I plan to, but again, it's just very early.
Going back to the education plan, Republicans obviously put out their own Prop 123 extension that differs from yours. What is the communication like? But then obviously you need Republicans in the legislature on board if your plan is what's going to move forward.
Absolutely. I think that we have engaged with stakeholders represented here in this room today and have been having extensive conversations about what needs to be done to extend 123, expand it, and make it better. I think we can all agree we need more investment in our schools. And I think, we're starting at a point where I think there's agreement that 123 should be extended. And so I think that's a good starting point.
Hey, wait, let me make sure I understand the answer. You've engaged with the stakeholders in this room, so you haven't engaged with the Republican leadership
We talk to Republican leadership every day.
on this issue?
We have had conversations. I'm not going to negotiate where we're at in public, but we've had conversations, yes.
Okay. One other technical question, which is the Republican plan is a $4,000 pay hike for teachers, about 7%.
Yep.
Your plan, once you take off the support personnel and everything else, is only about a 4% pay hike. Again, according to your own numbers, so the teachers would actually get more under the Republican plan?
Our plan dedicates the same amount towards teacher pay increases. It leaves it to districts to distribute that.
Governor, you have an appointment coming up to the Citizens Clean Elections Commission, which hasn't seen a new appointment in many years.
Yep.
What do you want to see out of your appointments? And between you and Treasurer Yee, do you anticipate replacing the entire 5-member body because they're all serving past the expiration of their terms, in some cases by years?
Yeah, every member is serving on an expired term, and so we need to replace them. And I'm looking for folks who support the mission of the Clean Elections Commission, and will work to uphold that.
Do you expect all 5 members to be replaced between you and Treasurer Yee
Yes.
in the near future?
Yeah.
When do you expect to make that first appointment?
Soon, I think.
Other questions?
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. What has been the communication between Treasurer Yee's office regarding Prop 123? I understand she's been obviously opposed to it, so has she reached out? Have you reached out to her office, or has it been just the public statements?
Just the public statements at this point.
Okay. Governor, what's the current hang-up on the bill that would resolve the election deadline with automatic recounts?
We are still negotiating that. I don't want to make those negotiations public, but I'm hopeful for a resolution.
Could you tell us a little bit more, because it is like people overseas who might not be able to vote as easily if we don't get this resolved?
I don't know what the specific issue is. I know that we've been going back and forth with the Republican leadership and the election officials, and I think we're very close to agreeing on something.
Well, Republican leadership has budgeted a bit on being willing to move the primary date up a little bit. How about you? Are you willing to give a little on number of post-election curing days for early ballots, or restricting the ability to drop off early ballots on election day?
I'm not willing to do anything that compromises Arizonans' access to the ballot. And at this point, we can't move the primary. Now, that means moving every single filing date and every other deadline. And I think we're well past the point that that can actually happen.
How about curing and late earlies?
Again, I don't want to compromise Arizonans' ability to have their votes counted.
That's a hard no on both of those.
Last week, the Arizona Department of Veterans Services announced about 20 layoffs related to the Veterans Home up in Flagstaff. What is the current status of that project? Because it looks like it keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah, we hope that these layoffs are temporary. There's construction problems that need to be corrected before the home can be opened, and we can't just keep staff on that don't have a place to work, or a job to do. So we hope it's temporary.
Next.
Governor, Major League Baseball wants an exception for minor league players, the state's minimum wage. I don't know, do you support that bill that's moving through the legislature right now?
We've been keeping up to speed on where the bill is. Certainly concerned about upending the voter protection clause in the minimum wage proposal.
Brown.
Governor, the new chairman of the Arizona Republican Party is a former employee of yours in the Secretary of State's office. Can you tell us how well she did her job in the office?
She was a great employee in the Secretary of State's office. We were sorry to see her go.
And are you sorry to see her leaving the party now, given the things she said about elections?
I'm not really involved in the business of the Republican Party.
All right. Next, Katrina.
Governor, have you and your staff been part of any discussions with lawmakers on housing legislation, specifically legislation to increase the supply of housing throughout Arizona? That's kind of similar to what we saw last session. And have you been talking with, and if so, have you both been talking with Republicans?
Yes, we've been talking to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle on those issues.
Have you heard any proposals that you can get behind that you'd like to see pushed through the legislature? I mean, given this is such a dire need, we've seen so much action lately.
I haven't seen any specifics yet.
Are you willing to tighten up the rules on cities in order to take some restrictions, rights away from them about HOAs or zoning or anything like that?
I would like to see something that strikes the right balance between our ability to build faster and local control.
All right, we only have time for a couple more questions, so right here.
Governor?
Yeah.
Earlier I spoke with Treasurer Kimberly Lee, and she called the plan a dangerous path, specifically the 8.9% distribution. I think she recommended 4 to 5%. Can you just respond to that specifically, that dangerous path?
We just respectfully disagree with her, and our numbers are different than hers in terms of the strength of the trust and the position it would be in if we increase the distribution.
And then right there.
Yeah, I understand a lot of the ESA transparency and accountability measures are starting to make their way in the legislature, and so I was just curious if there's been any budging on the Republican side in terms of, I don't know, even hearing them out, or if that's still kind of a close conversation. I know they've been very resistant.
I'm not sure yet if bills have been introduced, but I don't think they're moving, so that would be an indicator.
All right, one more question. Right there.
Can you give us a comment about the Arizona National Guardmen that were infiltrating the building?
I can't. I'm not at liberty to share anything about that.
All right, let's call our wraps, everybody.
Thank you.
Chiefs
Thanks.
of 49ers.
Detroit. Oh, Cardinals. Yeah. Never.